Hello, Don. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Fine, thank you. I'm going to make an introduction and then start with the question, okay?
Okay.
Perfect. So my name is Tony Gonzalez. The media is, this is Rock Magazine from Spain, and I'm glad to talk to you because there is a new recording that you're going to tell me about the name of this new recording. Please tell me, Don.
Well, it's called Push to the Edge, and I think it's about modern life, the way things have got. We're all wondering what's going on, and we're pushed to the edge of our patience and our understanding. And the title comes from the last line of the last actual song on the album, Edge of Reality, where our singer, Mitchell Emms, he sings Push to the Edge. And when he sang it, I said to him, "That sounds so great. It sounds like it's the album title to me."
The first single was Tell Me.
Tell me, yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's because you are in Deep Purple since 2002, but this song could fit perfectly in a Deep Purple recording. Am I wrong?
Um, it's a bit of a. I think the riff's a bit too metallic for Purple. It's a bit heavier than Purple would use actually. But yeah, it's a good song.
And when you write a song, do you propose it to Deep Purple first or you keep it to yourself?
No, no. This was written separately. I try and keep. I mean, I wrote it with Carl Sentance and with Simon McBride, with the specific purpose of recording it for Push to the Edge. So the way we write in Purple is a little bit different.
Yes. Part of this recording were done before lockdown. Did you have some songs totally finished before lockdown?
Yeah, Carl and I had written some songs a few years back. We've done quite a few albums together, so we had a few things left over, and we used them. But we got together with Simon and with John Finnigan for a couple of days, and we just hammered out a few ideas. And then the next week, we went into the studio and recorded the tracks. But what I did was took all the ideas and turned them into songs, and then you present them to the guys. This is what we're doing, and it seems to work. Put them on the spot, bit of pressure.
In 2018, we can hear Simon McBride playing on One of a Kind.
Yeah.
Yes, could you remember when did you first met Simon?
Oh, I met him in 2014, and I run a festival in my village every 2 years to raise money for the local hospitals. And the guys from PRS phoned me up. They said, "Have you heard Simon McBride?" I said, "Yeah, I've heard of him." So I phoned Simon up and said, "Would you open up the show?" And he said, "I haven't got a band." I said, "Oh, I'll get you a band together. I'll get you a bass player and a drummer." So that's how we met, and he was just sensational right from the off. So we started recording together and writing songs, and he joined my band, and we took it from there. When we went on tour with Gillan at one point when he was doing an orchestra tour, and at the end of the tour, Ian said to me, "If Steve ever leaves Purples, we don't have to look very far for a replacement."
This was in 2019. The recording is called
Yeah.
Contractual Obligation number 2. And let me tell you, in this moment, when this happened, and after this, did you participate in the decision to get Simon into Deep Purple?
Well, it wasn't till 2021, I think, that he came in. I mean, it was just Steve was just edged himself out of he couldn't do the gig. So you look around, there's no big secret to it. Who's around? And Gillen and I had just said he's the man for the job. So that was that.
Was
I didn't get Simon the job. Simon got Simon the job, yeah.
yes, it's really good to say that. And in that moment, there were another guitar players in the mention to get the position.
No, there were 4 names on the list. All of them were Simon's. So
Okay, so one of the singers that usually you work is Carl Sentance.
yeah.
Yes, your collaboration with him comes from more than 10 years. I remember him singing on a Kid Up, so I think you trust on his voice to represent your music. Please, the question is similar than the previous. Tell me, when did you started working with him and what do you like the most from him?
Yeah, I started, I knew him in the 90s when he was working with Geezer Butler. That's when I first met him. And I thought, oh, he's a likely lad. But we met up again 2008. He came and sang on Light in the Sky. And, you know, he turned up and there was a track that I wanted to call Into Orbit. But he called it something else. Oh, heavens. Excuse me. I'm looking. I've forgotten the title of the song now. But he had his own title, and I was a bit upset about it. And when he sang it, he said, "What do you think? Do you like it?" I said, "No." I said, "I love it." You know, just what he does is he always does the right thing. He comes up with the goods. He's very quick, very professional. He's very good with words. Um, and he's a good laugh to be around, you know.
A surprise to me was Mitchell Emms
Yeah,
come from The Voice UK.
that's right.
Yes, could you remember when did you know about him and why did you give him this opportunity?
Well, um, people were talking about him. He actually worked on Strictly Come Dancing as well. He was in the band for that. I mean, he's a real professional singer. But I heard about him from Simon,
Oh,
and we did one gig with him in Cambridge, the Cambridge Rock Festival, and he was just absolutely brilliant. So, um, you know, he was just a natural choice to come and sing on the album.
when you have a bunch of songs already written, how did you select the musicians who will record it?
Well, no, the guys who play on the album, they're the guys who help write them normally. I mean, most of the songs were written by me, Carl, and Simon. Um, the songs that Mitch sings on were written by me and Mitch. And then the other songs were just jams that were written by the band. So, you know, it's kind of a band album, really, but with me kind of calling all the shots.
Yes, and the reading section in your recording is a reading section that usually you work with.
Yeah.
And the musicians that are in this recording, apart from Mitchell Emms, are musicians that it's not the first time that play with you.
Oh, no, no, no. I mean, John Finnigan, the drummer, I've known him since he was 12 years old. He lives quite near me. So, you know, he's a great friend and he's just a great drummer. I mean, he does a lot of work with different bands, but I'm always pleased when he's on board. He always adds something special. He's an amazing character, and he's got his own style, and that style is rock and roll to me. So
Yes.
he's a real rock and roller, that boy.
And what about Dave Marks?
Dave, well, I haven't known Dave so long, but I know Dave from Simon because Dave has worked with Simon a lot. But Dave, again, is a very, very talented musician. I mean, he works with all kinds of different people, Hans Zimmer, um, Kate Bush. I don't know, he's done hundreds of things. He's always away working. And he's just good-humoured, another fellow Irishman, always has a good laugh, but catches on very, very quick. Always full of ideas. I love working with him.
Yes. For example, there is a song in this album that is They Kept on Running, that
Yeah.
maybe is my imagination, but I imagine that it has a little Spanish flavor at the beginning. Am I wrong?
Yes. Yeah, I said, just before we played it, I had this idea. I said to John Finnigan, give me a Spanish rhythm, give me a Spanish thing. And he came up with this Spanish bullfight kind of thing. And I came up with the trumpet line. Of course, when it came to the actual session, for the overdub, we got Steve Bentley plays trumpet. We got him to play trumpet on it. And I think it's very unusual. I really like it.
So you did it with a real trumpet.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes. And there are many keyboard jams in this recording. And I
Yeah.
would like to know, how did you conceive the improvisation in general terms?
Well, you just, with rock songs, there's always a guitar solo or a keyboard solo or both. So you just make room for them. That what makes the track interesting and stretches everything out. So yeah, I think there's a keyboard solo and a guitar solo on most of the tracks. It's part of the genre, if you like. I think a lot of the solos are live. They're on the backing track. We didn't overdub a lot of the solos, just one or two maybe.
Let me tell you that I imagined that when I was listening the
Yeah.
Yes, but something that I would like to know is, in this recording, especially in this recording, how many keyboards have you used?
Let me see. I used a Hammond organ, of course, a Kurzweil master keyboard, a Mini Moog. I used an ARP Odyssey as well, which is an old synthesizer, nearly as old as a Mini Moog. And then just a couple of rack band things. And I used a Memetron, which is made in Berlin. It's a digital copy of an old Mellotron. It's a keyboard I'm very keen on. Yeah. So not so many.
Yes, not so many. I imagine that there were more.
Yeah.
Yes. And you have participated in almost 300 recordings. Do you mind if we remember some of them?
That's right.
Just few of them.
Yeah.
Yes, just few of them. And it is related to your own job. For example, I remember that Gary Moore played in Kid Up, and I'm almost sure that What Went Wrong and Adagio were the last of, or one of the last recording Gary Moore did before passing away.
Yes, it's the last studio recording.
Yes. What do you remember about these recordings?
Well, I hadn't seen Gary for a time, so it was great to see him. I mean, as usual, he did everything very quickly. And then we went out and we went to a cafe and have tea and cakes and talked about old times. And that was the last time I saw him, very sad.
Yes.
Yeah. It's very sad to think back about it.
I have read that you are writing a book about your career.
Yeah.
Yes, it's already finished?
No. It's always halfway finished because my career keeps going on. I keep making bloody solo albums and stuff like that. So.
Yes, but the problem is that if we need to wait until your solo career finish, maybe it will be.
No, I'm going to finish it this year. Yeah.
No, don't tell me. The book, not the career.
The book, not the career.
No. No, please don't. Yes. No. So, are you the kind of musician that consider that you will be on the stage till the end of time?
Well, Buddy Guy said, you know, the great blues guitarist said, musicians don't retire, they drop. That's what I think there's a bit of that going on at the moment. You know, nobody thought we'd go on this long. You know, when I first started, I thought we were like footballers. Do you know
Mm.
what I mean? You retire, you know, you get to 33 and that's about it. But it's amazing that we've managed to carry this music on for so long.
There is a musician that we can see during your career, you and him, you with him with you, that it was Cozy Powell.
Yeah.
Yes, and I would like to know what Cozy Powell means to you and to your musical career.
Well, he was the guy that first got me into a rock band when I joined his band. That was the first rock band I was in. Um, and he was just such a nice person. Very, very talented musician as well. One of the best musicians I've ever worked with. I mean, if you listen to Rainbow's Down to Earth, the drumming is as good as anything you'll ever hear. It's quite amazing. And he was always very supportive, and not only with me, with everybody he ever worked with. And you know, we all miss him terribly. We really do. I often phone up Neil Murray and we just talk about Cozy.
Yes. I remember the intro of the Rainbow song, the Stargazer,
Yeah,
is fantastic.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Lost in Hollywood too.
Mhm. I'm glad to see that when you have these memories, you smile. So that means that there are good memories.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes. And coming back to Gary Moore, your is the starting keyboards on Nuclear Attack that it was released on Rocking Every Night, the second album from Gary Moore, the
Yeah.
first live recording with this lineup. I will always remember the intro of that song, and I know that it was more than 40 years, but I would like that you remember where the inspiration comes from that song. You still has in your mind because even it was played for the first time with Great Lake in 1981, and you were the player also, no?
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember much about the session. I think it was a keyboard called a Memory Moog, which
Yes,
was brand new at the time.
but
That,
but
that,
for example, yes, there is something I don't remember. Did you play with Great Lake solo?
no.
No, it wasn't you. But you play with Gary Moore, and this is the Nuclear Attack, one of the songs that really you play. This it was the first song that I recognize your sound on the keyboard. Even when you were previously playing with another famous group, it was with Gary Moore that I recognized your kind of sound. Yes, this is the reason why I ask. Uh, so, is there something that you remember from touring with Gary Moore in the 80s or something like that?
Well, he was a wonderful musician to work with, you know, and he never ever let up. You know, he was always full on. You know, he never let people down. His playing was always amazing. Yeah, there's somebody else I miss terribly. Oh.
There is a song in your new recording that is called Flame in the Water.
Yes.
Yes, and I imagine that the sound doesn't have any relationship, but I remember I imagine that you took the name from Smoke on the Water. But where where did you decided to
Well,
name it Flame
the
in the Water?
title comes from Carl Sentance,
Hmm.
and it's about he's always writing things about the hopelessness of lost love. You know, like having a flame underwater. You know, it just doesn't work, and that's what that's about. I think the resemblance to Smoke on the Water was not intentional.
Hmm.
It's the title of the song, of a love song.
Yes. Are you thinking of giving this new recording with a project alive in concert?
Well, maybe we plan to do something in September. Yeah, we'll do a few concerts around the place. But it's yet to be, it's early days yet. You got to see how the album does and if anybody wants us.
Let me confess you that Simon McBride, when he was playing with you,
Yeah,
I didn't. I considered that he was an extraordinary guitar player, but I didn't pay attention. But just before releasing the Deep Purple recording, Simon released a solo recording maybe 2 years ago.
yeah,
Was the moment when I really pay attention to Simon McBride in his own recording.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
and I tell you this because I would like to know when you write the songs, if you give to Simon freedom of expression, and you tell him how to play, what is the solo, what kind of solo. Tell me.
No, no, you don't say anything.
No.
Let the music do the talking. You just hope that you're providing the framework that gets people to give their best. So you don't say, I want a solo like, I want you to sound like, you know, I want you to sound like Dickie Betts or sound like Hendrix. You just be yourself, man. That's what I always say to them. Be yourself. What do you got? What do you got? Come on, let me have it. Put a bit of pressure on.
Yes, the recording finished with a song called Finnigan's Awake.
Yeah.
Yes, I miss who is that Finnigan.
Well, John Finnigan's a drummer, of course. There's a book by James Joyce who wrote Ulysses. The book he wrote after was called Finnigan's Wake, which wake is a funeral, Finnigan's Wake. And John Finnigan, he catches on, so he learns things so quickly that he gets very bored. And we all say he can play, but he falls asleep. So this track, he was awake, so we called it Finnigan's Awake.
Interesting, eh?
So it's a joke, it's a bit of it's fun. It's a pun.
Interesting. Yes, but you know the story, Don. You are British, and your sense of humor is very different than mine. So you tell me something, I say, it's a joke or not? It happened to me.
Yeah.
Yes, because I was born in Cuba. I remember that the first recording, the K1, I listened there in Cuba. And when I come back to live here in Spain, that we have living here for 15 years, when I make a joke, the Spanish don't understand.
All right.
So, and maybe you make a joke and the American didn't understand.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Americans don't understand jokes.
No,
No.
don't tell me. Yes, so the rockers usually remember your work with Ozzy, Whitesnake, Rainbow, but I would like to go to Back to the Light, the first Brian May recording. Did he give you the opportunity to fly free?
That was something different. That was a track I'd done with Cozy, and we didn't use it on Cozy's for one of Cozy's solo albums.
Mhm.
But he kind of sent it to Brian, said, "Could you put the guitar on it?" Brian liked it so much, he said, "Can I have it? Can I use it?" So that's how that came about. I didn't actually work with Brian,
Ah,
though you know,
ah, because yes, I didn't have the whole information, and I'd imagine that Too Much Love Will Kill You
yeah,
with the classical piano. This piano was your piano.
yeah.
Hmm. It was it?
Was it what?
In Too Much Love Will Kill You. Did you play the piano?
I can't remember.
No.
Probably.
Probably. Perfect. Yes. Yes, this is the problem that you have been working in more than 300 recording. So my final question is, did you keep a register? I'm thinking that maybe not, but did you keep your legacy? You have a register of the recording you have worked, you have the recording you have saved in one place or not?
I think the answer to that's no.
Yes,
I mean, with each session,
Mhm.
you know, I used to write out the charts, you know, write out a music score for a guide, you know. So I've kept all of them, and it's just shelves full of music from various sessions. And of course, I worked as a session musician in London as well, you know, doing adverts and writing for orchestras and doing documentaries and all kinds of stuff. So I've got all of that, and that's the record. But I wouldn't like to be the person that had to sort it out, you know.
In this year, 2025, is Deep Purple planning to tour?
I'm not sure.
Yes. I asked you before, you told me that maybe this year you
There was
will.
a song, do you know a song by Zager and Evans? In the year 2520. Well,
Yes,
here we are. We're in 2025. But we all still be alive. Go on, I'm sorry.
I was thinking that maybe taking account that now two of Deep Purple are members of your band, you are Simon, that maybe there will be a join between you first, your solo project, and then Deep Purple.
No, that won't happen. No.
Yes.
It'd be too much in one night. You know.
Too much at one night. Yes. I think that maybe it is. Those were my questions. And thank you very much for your time.
Okay.
I appreciate your music very much. In Cuba, the people like your music very much.
I've never been to Cuba, but one day maybe. I hope to go.
I hope. Yes, there was a moment, but it was, yes, you were in the band, but baby, you don't know that there was a project to come Deep Purple to Cuba
Yeah.
through the British Embassy,
All right.
to the British Embassy. Yes, because you are the legacy of the British. Of
Yeah.
course, no, it's very important. I
Yeah.
imagine that in the city that you were born, the mayor will call you and give you a prize.
All right.
No, or it won't happen.
That would be wonderful.
Don, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for the good questions.
Yes, I hope to see you on the stage so soon.
All right. Okay. Cheers for now.
Bye bye.
Bye.